Hello there guys and welcome to Monday's live stream. I am JWF1 and we are here for the pre-season testing for IFMC GP2. The Season 4 Championship finally underway for GP2 and it kicks off as per usual with pre-season testing here at Magny Cours. And well, after coming off a very exciting championship, we're looking at maybe another exciting one as well. It's looking to be quite a competitive grid as well, with a few new teams coming into play. Of course, GP2 during this preseason test includes all of the Season 4 drivers, and in a bit you're going to be seeing who they are. And but as you can see, it is bright and sunny here at the Circuit de Nevers Magny Cours, and hopefully we'll be in for a good testing session. So before we start then, let's quickly have a look at the drivers and teams for Season 4 along with the drivers who are competing today. And let's have a look then. So driving for East Midlands Racing is Sergei Sorokin and Luca Giotto. Vortex Racing, Mitch Evans and Lucas Jura. Academy have Pierre Gasly and Mick Schumacher. Light Base Sony Racing have Lando Norris and Norman Nato. Willows Grand Prix have Jolyon Palmer and Louis Razia. GOM Junior have Nick De Vries and Lance Stroll. Panasonic Makara Motorsport have Alex Lynn and Santiago Urrutia. At Holy Trinity Racing we have Nobuharu Matsushita and Sean Galayo. At Lopez Racing Development, we have Sacha Fenestraz and Joel Eriksson. At Red Bull Academy, we have George Russell and Felix Rosenquist. And finally, at RSPCA Racing, we have Dan Ticktum and Yuri Vips. So they are the drivers taking part in today's test, and of course, the whole season as well. So as you can see, as mentioned, bright and sunny here at Magny Cours. And hopefully we get a good testing session in. So without further ado, let's get to the hour session. So here we are then in the pit lane, and we're going to go to the end of the pit lane with Yuri Vips. So we will wait and get the session underway. It's an hour session in this preseason test as we wait to get underway. Of course, one team carries alcohol sponsors, and because we're in France, they had to have them censored for today, that being Red Bull Academy. And but the return of TV graphics as well, just to see what the lap times are going to be, should be quite an interesting one, as we have some cars already getting underway, and it looks like an EMR car is going underway in the form of Luca Giotto. So Giotto is the first man out on track, and yes, you would have noticed something about the TV graphics. They're blue rather than black. I found a way on how to change the colours of these, to be honest with you. So there are a few little problems here and there. There are a few edges that I can deal with next time around when I use these. But we have separate TV graphics for GP2. They're now blue instead of the traditional black that we see in the top class. So that's that really. So you'll be seeing blue graphics for GP2. And Luca Giotto is the first man out on track. Also on track we have Sean Galayo, the returning Sean Galayo as well. Dan Ticktum out on track. This is RSPCA's last series before being rebranded as Red Road Racing when they get to IFMC IndyCar. So it's the last time you'll see an RSPCA Racing name branded for them. Mitch Evans on the track as well, as is Pierre Gasly, hoping to make a redemption after what had been a tricky season last season for the Frenchman. Nobuharu Matsushita out on track as well. Mick Schumacher given a second chance in GP2 due to popular demand, and here he is in the academy and raring to go. Sergei Sorokin also on track, as is Lance Stroll in the GOM Junior. George Russell out on track for Red Bull Academy. Sacha Fenestraz also on track, as is Yuri Vips. And we also have Lando Norris, Santiago Urrutia, as Luca Giotto has just started a lap. Nobody else expected to come out onto the track, but Giotto has just started a lap. Here he is, as he just comes down towards the hairpin on the track. And he does a 20.413 in the first sector there, as he just goes around the hairpin. As he now goes down the hill. And we'll be able to see he'll be the one setting the benchmark time for everybody to beat. EMR for the second season in a row, coming in as the defending teams champions. I haven't announced it yet on Twitter, but the GP2 and GP3 names for the teams championship will be renamed from the constructors championship, as it was from the first 3 seasons, to just the teams championship, just to make it a bit realistic, because let's be honest, GP2 teams and GP3 teams aren't constructors. Of course, they're not they're racing in the same cars and not upgrading like the top class are. So both of them will be renamed as a Teams Championship. I'll get that announced probably by the end of today, because I forgot to mention it on Twitter. But anyway, look at Giotto now then, going through into towards the last chicane. As mentioned, he's the one setting the benchmark of time for everybody to beat. In his full-time return to GP2, he now crosses the line, and what's the time going to be for Giotto? It's a 1:17.553. Goliath crosses the line, goes into second, 4 tenths behind. Here comes Dan Ticktum in the RSPCA racing car, and he slots to second with that lap. As here comes Mitch Evans then, who just comes out of the final corner, and Evans is now going to cross the line, and he goes fastest with that time. So Evans goes to the top of the timing sheets. It's only P3 for Pierre Gasly, but then Masashita beats him to that post. So Masashita getting up into third place. Evans going to the top. Here comes Mick Schumacher in the academy, giving his second chance to try and impress. Schumacher now then, across the line goes the young teenage German, and he slots to fourth with that lap. Sergei Sorokin, third place for the Russian. Lance Stroll crosses the line to go second fastest. Russell now goes to the top by 600ths of a second, so Russell goes to the top. Sacha Fenestraz goes to 10th. Yuri Vips crosses the line, goes to P12. Lando Norris P5 with that lap there. Then here comes Santiago Urrutia in the Panasonic McLaren Motorsport car, which is based off the Formula E Jaguar. Urrutia crosses the line, slots to 9th, just in front of Gasly there. So that's that then, really. Anybody else planning to do a second lap? It doesn't appear like it. All of them appearing to go back into the pits this lap. Well, I say that, Lando Norris is preparing to start another one, but he was 5,000 down in the first sector, as you can see there. But it looks like the man in front, fellow compatriot Dan Ticktum, looks to be holding him up on this lap, as they now approach the chicane, and so now going through the left-hander we go, and Norris is currently P5 on the road at this stage, as he's 1/10 down in the first sector. So probably at the moment Ticktum, that's that then, really. So Ticktum currently in P11 at the moment, and currently holding up Norris. Norris is currently P5, and it looks like he's not on an improvement because of that, as he now approaches the final chicane on the track. Most of the guys slotting back into the pits, as Norris now then goes up towards the final corner, and he heads down the pit straight, and Norris is going to cross the line, and he stays in P5 with that lap there then, as Ericsson is out on track. And Lando was the only one out of those group of cars, in fact, to actually do a competitive lap then. But after a second flying lap, that time around I should say, Norris trying to find a way through on Joel Ericsson. These two are actually rivals, I think, in Formula 3, from what I understand, Norris and Ericsson. And also had a good battle at the Macau Grand Prix last year, which I believe Joel Ericsson actually went on to win, if I'm correct, or was it Lando Norris? It was one of the two. I believe it was actually maybe Eric. No, it wasn't actually. It was neither of them. It was actually Callum Elaw who actually won that race. I do apologise, but yeah. So Joel Ericsson out on track for Lopez Racing Development, one of the new teams in the field. We have 4 new teams in. I believe it's 4. Yes, it's 4 new teams in IFMC GP2. Those being Holy Trinity Racing coming up from GP3. Lopez Racing Development, owned by Franco Lopez. Holy Trinity Racing, ran by James Croft. Red Bull Academy, promoted from GP3, formerly known as Robert Patrick Hunter Racing. They've got the Red Bull sponsorship back on their car, so they're now known again as Red Bull Academy, and owned by Robert Hunter. And the other one being RSPCA Racing, who competed in IFMC IndyCar a few months ago. Their team boss being Etienne Jones, and Joel Ericsson's lap. They're getting a little bit compromised by an RSPCA Racing car, I believe. I think there's going to be a little bit of confusion between the Vortex and the RSPCA Racing car to distinguish it. I think, of course, the Vortex has a little bit more black going on the car, where it's more yellow on the RSPCA Racing car, but we'll see as the season progresses. Ericsson approaches the first sector, and he's 6/10 down the first sector, maybe because of Evans, or no, in fact it was actually the RSPCA racing car, wasn't it, that was at the end of the pit lane, which was Yuri Vips, who's currently 14th in the car, 7/10 behind the man at the top. So at the moment, the leaderboard looks like this. It's Russell top, Evans second, Stroll third, Giotto fourth, Norris in fifth, Sorokin sixth, Masashita 7th, Schumacher 8th, Urrutia 9th, Gasly 10th, Ticktum in 11th, with Fenestraz 12th, Goliath 13th, and Vips in 14th position. So that's currently what the leaderboard looks like. Then we ride on board with Joel Eriksson, who's 8 times down that time around in the second sector. Evans in front, really not helping him out. Evans currently second. Came close to win the championship last season and looking for redemption as we've got a yellow flag, and it's down at turn 3 on the track. We have a yellow flag down at turn 3. Who is the first culprit? As we need to try and find who it is, and it's Nick de Vries. De Vries has gone for a spin and has ripped his front wing off, so pushing a little bit too hard in his new team, GOM Junior. But Nick de Vries has gone for a spin. Let's go and ride on board with him to see what on earth happened. Just carries a little bit too much understeer and then just goes bouncing over the gravel, spins out of control, hits the barrier and loses his front wing as a result, and just struggling, it seems, to get out of there at the moment. So De Vries, a yellow down at that corner, and De Vries is still standing there at this time. So that's that for him, really, as we need to see where Eriksson is. There's Eriksson just going around the final corner there, and Joel Eriksson is going to cross the line, and he goes 15th for that lap in front. Evans clearly holding him up, as was Vips a little earlier on. Who else is on lap? Jolyon Palmer had a very impressive end to the season in IFMC GP2, which is very different to his Formula 1 career, that's for sure, in real life. So far in GP2 seems to be doing quite decent, but stays with Willows. Palmer crosses the line. What's the time going to be? He goes second with that lap, 400 off Russell there. So Palmer getting himself up into P2 with that lap. A brilliant time from the Brit as Tictum is about to start a lap. Here comes Alex Lynn, who's coming up towards the final chicane. And let's see what Lynn is able to do as he now heads down the pit straight. Alex Lynn with his new team is going to cross the line. What's the time going to be? He goes 7th with that lap. Norman Nato goes up to 7th as we've got another yellow now down at the right hand, and it's Dan Tictum this time who's gone for a little trip across the gravel. So like Nick de Vries, it looks like he's a little bit worse in fact. So he goes around this corner and oh no, it had something to do with Nick de Vries there, as it seems that we've got that little glitch again where somebody's crashed, but the replay clearly shows a different perspective of it. So magic, we saw that last time at Magny Cours when we were last here with Kimi Räikkönen. Some magic happened, some Houdini magic kicked in terms of the replays there. Rosenquist, meantime, goes fastest at the moment by 4 tenths of a second, beating his teammate. Last season's GP3 champion goes fastest at the top of the timing sheet, staying with the team that he won the GP3 championship with. And so far doing a good job in GP2. Here's Mick Schumacher then in the academy. Across the line goes the German, and he goes up into 8th place. So P8 for Mick. Here comes Lucas Jura. Let's see what Jura can do. His teammate's up in 4th place. He goes only 13th for that lap. His teammate doesn't improve, stays in 4th place. Yuri Vips, meantime, crosses the line, and he does not improve. As Louis Razier, only 17th with that lap. Lance Stroll stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 5. Norris about to start a lap. As we look at Dan Tictum now then, and De Vries going back into the pits with no front wing. Tictum having the Houdini magic, but obviously his lap got compromised because he had to slow down as De Vries was rejoining right into his path there. So a little bit of Houdini magic going on, it appears, as now Tictum heads down the pit straight, and of course this will not help his time, and Tictum stays where he is at the moment, which is P16 in the RSPCA racing car. So we'll look at Yuri Vips, who's on a second flying lap, as we've had nearly 10 minutes of the session completed. Vips now then approaches the end of sector 2 now then. We ride on board with the Estonian, and it'd be very odd if he wins a race this season, because of course Estonia has the same national anthem as what Finland has, but just a tad bit shorter. And so if he actually wins a race, and when we get to the podium, by the way, I don't think I've played the wrong national anthem, because I haven't. Estonia has the same one as Finland, so that's that race. So Vips now then around the final corner. Is he going to improve on his lap? Yuri Vips crosses the line, the Estonian. Is this an improvement? It says he goes up to 17th, getting in front of Louis Razier's Willow's Grand Prix car. Razier not on terms of pace compared to teammate Jolyon Palmer, who's up in 3rd. Here comes Lando Norris in the light-based Sony racing car. Norris currently 7th at this stage. This is going to be an improvement from the young Brit from Bristol. Norris crosses the line, and no, it's not. Stays 7th for that lap, still behind Luca Giotto at this stage. Speaking of Giotto, he's just come out onto the track. George Russell now back out onto the track himself, and George Russell currently 2nd. So far it's a Red Bull Academy 1-2 at this stage, with Rosenquist first and Russell in second place. And Rosenquist with a 4-tenth deficit between himself and teammate Russell. Russell hoping to try and close that down if he can, as Russell now approaches the chicane, as he will now prepare to start his next flying lap. So if you can hear a dog in the background barking her voice box off, as now we go up towards the last chicane. Russell preparing to start his next flying lap now then, as of course it looks like only one guy has yet to do a lap. I can't quite put my finger on who it is though that's yet to do a lap. Confusing. Who hasn't done a lap yet? Is it so somebody must have, I can't remember if anybody who hasn't done a lap yet. We'll probably come across him in due time, but we'll see. Let's see. So both trying to think now. Both Red Bull Academy cars have done a lap, as have both Willow's Grand Prix cars. Both Vortex guys have done a lap. It's actually yeah, it's De Vries, I think, isn't it? Yeah, it's De Vries who hasn't done a lap. There he is, because De Vries actually ripped his front wing off a little earlier on. Where's Russell on the track? He's currently on a lap. There he is, currently second. Let's see what his second sector time is going to be like. He's only 600ths off Rosenquist in the first sector. So Russell, the young Brit, looking to be on an improvement. The Mercedes young driver in real life, and hoping he does a good job in real life in Formula 2. And so now Russell going up towards the final chicane, and let's see what George is able to do around the final chicane in towards the final corner. And across the line goes George Russell, and let's see what he is able to do. Russell across the line improves but stays in second place. It's still a Red Bull Academy 1-2 at this stage. It's Rosenquist first, from Russell second, Palmer third, Evans fourth, Stroll fifth, Giotto sixth, Norris in 7th, Schumacher 8th, Nato 9th, Lynn 10th, Sorokin 11th, Matsushita 12th, Euro 13th, Eurisia 14th, Gasly 15th, Tictum 16th, Vip 17th, Razia 18th, Fenestraz 19th, Galal 20th, and Ericsson in 21st. De Vries still has to set a lap after losing his front wing a little earlier on. And so anybody else finishing a lap? Matsushita doesn't improve, stays 12th. Giotto stays 6th for the time being in the East Midlands racing car. Here comes Sean Galayo in the Holy Trinity racing car. Galayo improves to P11, so up to 11th goes Galayo, as Palmer now starts a lap. As here comes Alex Lynn in the Panasonic Macaro Motorsport car, currently P10, about to start a lap. As we look now at Sergei Sorokin in the EMR, as he goes in towards the last chicane, running the same livery as what the Top Class team run. I think they're the first team to do that since GOM Junior back in Season 1. Sorokin now then, across the line he goes, and no improvement for him. He stays in P number 12 with that lap. As here comes Joel Eriksson. Is this going to be an improvement? It is. Eriksson goes up into 12th place with that lap then, as we look at Santiago Eurechia. And for those who don't know who he is is quite a competitive driver in Indy Lights, so that's where his background comes from, and he's from Uruguay, the first Uruguay driver I think to compete in IFMC. But Eurechia now then coming out of the final corner and onto the pit straight. Let's see what Eurechia is able to do. He improves and goes up to 15th place. Rosenquist, is he on for an improvement? Across the line goes the Swedish driver, and it is. He's on a 1 minute 16.901, the first man to break into the 1 minute 16s today. Nato starts a lap there. Then Gasly goes up to 4, so it's P4 for the Frenchman. As Giotto crosses the line, like he got held up quite a lot on his lap, does not improve and stays in P number 7. Here comes Jolyon Palmer, who's currently 3rd at the moment in the Willows Grand Prix car. Palmer crosses the line, improves but stays in 3rd place with that lap, 4 attempts behind Felix Rosenquist at this stage. As here comes Alex Lynn now then, entering towards the final chicane, and with his new team Panasonic Macaro Motorsport, after spending 3 seasons with Willows Grand Prix. Lynn now then crosses the line, and no improvement for him. Lynn stays P11 at the present moment, as now Norman Nato goes around the left-hander. And let's see what the second sector is like. 3 attempts down in the second sector. And also, if you've noticed on the cars as well, I've managed to find a way to put numbers on the car now. So each car in GP2 now has a number on the car. So exciting times, I suppose, for everyone. I suppose, if anybody's got a number. In towards the final chicane then we go. And up towards the final corner then goes Norman Nato. And I've realised he's got the wrong number on. I'll get that changed for the first race. As Nato crosses the line, and he goes up to 4th with that lap. So Nato up to P4 with that lap time. He should have number 8 on his car rather than number 12. I think I got him mixed up with GRM in a little way. I do apologise for that. I don't know how, but I've somehow managed to do that. As De Vries now then enters towards the final chicane to finally do a lap. And let's see what the young Dutchman is able to do as he heads down the pit straight. And De Vries is going to cross the line. And he goes 5th with that lap. So it's P5 for De Vries. So both GRMs are into the top 10 at this stage, with Stroll also in P8 at the present moment. As Schumacher about to start a lap quite soon. As Lucas Jura in the Vortex Racing car, currently 18th, about to start a lap. And Jura making his debut this season. The Austrian driver, I think he's Austrian. Yeah, I think he's Austrian. As he's now just going to start the lap. Again, I do apologise if you can hear my dog in the background there. A little bit of lag there from the pit lane. I do apologise for that. As Jura now then goes through the right-hander. And let's see what his first sector is going to curtail. He approaches the end of sector 1. And he's 1/10 down in the first sector there then, as he now approaches the hairpin. Jura currently 18th, as mentioned, 5/10, sorry, not 5/10, 8/10 off Rosenquist as he now approaches the chicane. And Jura now then approaching the left-hander on the track and coming out of the corner as he now goes up towards the chicane as he's 3/10 down that time around in the 3rd sector. And up towards the right-hander, and let's see what Lucas Jura is able to do on this lap. Up towards the final chicane we go, and Jura, let's see, is this going to be an improvement for the Austrian driver? Into the final corner and onto the pit straight we go, and Jura crosses the line, and he goes up to 13th at that time, so an improvement for Lucas. And Russell and Ticktum and Vips about to start a lap. Here comes Louis Razier in the Willows Grand Prix car. Into the final corner he goes and onto the pit straight. And Razier crosses the line. And he does not improve. And Razier stays in 21st position. Razier clearly struggling in this test. Stroll goes up to 4th. So Lance Stroll up to P4 with that lap. As Evans behind starts a lap. As will Sean Galio. Mick Schumacher now then in the academy. Schumacher currently 11th. A little bit off the pace from teammate Pierre Gasly, who's currently 7th. But Schumacher now then up towards the final corner he goes. And onto the pit straight goes the teenage German. Schumacher crosses the line and improves to P8 to be just behind Gasly. So up to 8th place goes Mick Schumacher. As we now look at George Russell in the Red Bull Academy car, and he's going up in the 2nd sector, so he's going quicker than his teammate in the 2nd sector by 700ths of a second. Let's see if Russell is able to keep that up as he goes up towards the right-hander on the track. Out of the right-hander he goes as he goes up towards the final chicane on the track. Let's see what Russell is able to do then. Up towards the final corner comes George Russell, as he will now go down the pit straight, and across the line goes George Russell. Is this going to be an improvement? And it is, but he's lost a lot of time in the last sector as he still remains in 2nd, unable to dethrone Rosenquist off the top. Ticktum goes up to 17th. His teammate on the other hand doesn't improve and stays 20th with that lap, as here comes Mitch Evans in the Vortex Racing car, entering out of the final corner and onto the pit straight we go, and Evans is going to cross the line. And Evans staying where he is at the moment. Giotto just starting a lap as Galio stays 14th at this stage. Lando Norris through in towards the right-hander, out of the corner using as much of the curb as possible. And now up towards the final chicane goes Norris. And let's see what he can do. He's currently in... where is he? He's currently in 11th place and goes up to 3rd with that lap. So a big improvement for Lando Norris. Up into 3rd place goes the young Brit. Sasha Fenestraz goes up to 20th with that lap. Sergei Sorokin stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 16 on the road. And as Giotto, here he is on a lap. Giotto currently in 11th place at the moment, as both EMRs currently, I believe, are outside the top 10 at this stage. Giotto 6 tenths down in the second sector. The Italian now then goes up towards the chicane. And let's see what he's able to do then, as we have just over 39 minutes of this session remaining. Giotto coming out of the right-hander now then, and up towards the final chicane we go. And Giotto is going to cross the line. Is he able to find some time in the last sector? It doesn't look like he's on for an improvement, but we'll wait and see. Giotto crosses the line and stays 11th for the time being. No improvement for the Italian. Meantime, Urishia about to start lap. Here's Nobuharu Matsushita making a return for the first time since Season 2, when he was part of the now defunct Steelers racing team run by Connor Smith, as now going out of the left-hander. And let's see what his second sector is going to be like. He's 3 tenths down that time around in the second sector as he goes up towards the chicane. And now up towards the right-hander he goes, and let's see what Matsushita is able to produce. Heading out the corner up towards the final chicane we will go. And let's see then. Up towards the final corner then goes Nobuharu Matsushita. And he's now going to cross the line. And he does not improve. Matsushita staying where he is at the present moment. Anybody else on a lap? It doesn't appear like that part it did. Here's Giotto now then, again in the EMR, as he now goes up towards the final chicane. And let's see what Giotto is able to do. Up towards the final corner. And that was a weird line there for Luca Giotto, quite weird from the Italian. And that might cost him a little bit of time. Giotto crosses the line, no improvement from the Italian as he gets a little bit more of a twitch there. So Giotto clearly struggling on that lap. And Giotto staying in P11 at this stage of testing, as Palmer about to start a lap quite soon. As here is Santiago Urishia in the Macamo, as he now goes up towards the final 4 corners on the track, and in towards the last chicane we go. And Urishia then currently in 19th place. This does look to be an improvement from the Uruguay driver. Let's see then. Urishia crosses the line and goes up to 12. So up to P12 goes Santiago Urishia in the Panasonic Macamo Motorsport car. The team now officially South African. And now then the sponsor Panasonic being part of their name. As now here comes Joel Eriksson coming out of the final corner. And Eriksson crosses the line. Looks like again he got held up. And Eriksson stays in 16th at this stage, as Rosenquist starting a lap. As here is Julian Palmer, who's 700s down in the second sector. Around the right-hander we go. And Palmer now then up towards the final chicane he will go. Palmer now then about to complete his lap around the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes Julian Palmer. And let's see if this is an improvement. It is, but he stays P4 with that lap, not able to get back up to 3rd and get back in front of Lando Norris. Here's Pierre Gasly in the Academy car. Gasly crosses the line and he goes up to 6th, so an improvement there for Pierre. And he's also got his current helmet on now, Pierre Gasly. There's now a helmet for him available for GP3 Edit, so we've used that. That's his Toro Rosso helmet he's using. As Norman Nato now then going up towards the final chicane, and let's see what Nato is able to produce. Up towards the final corner goes the Frenchman, and let's see what Nato is able to do then. Across the line goes Norman, and he goes into 4th place of that lap, just behind teammate Norris. So up to 4th place goes Norman Nato, as Stroll starts the lap, as will Schumacher. Lynn stays where he is at the moment, which is P13. Ericsson stays in where is he? Ericsson stays in 16th place at this stage. Rosenquist doesn't improve, stays on a 1 minute 16.901 at this stage. Nick de Vries crosses the line and he goes up into 7th place, so an improvement for the Dutchman. As now Louis Razia heads in towards the last chicane. Currently in last place at the moment, so the Brazilian desperate for an improvement, who heads out of the final corner. And Razia crosses the line. This is going to be an improvement, and it's not. He stays 22nd with that lap there then. Here's Lucas Jura then, just going through the right-hander. And in towards the final chicane goes Lucas Jura. Through the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And Jura crosses the line. Is this going to be an improvement? It isn't. Jura stays at the moment in P number 14 at this stage, still behind Evans, who's currently in the cusp of the top 10 at the moment in this testing session. Riding on board with Lance Stroll, who's currently 6th at this stage. Stroll approaches the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the Canadian. Stroll across the line he will go, and Stroll goes up to 4th with that lap, so an improvement for Stroll. Up to P4 goes the teenage Canadian. Schumacher stays 9th at the moment, so still P9 is Mick Schumacher. As now we look at Daniel Ticktum, who's 600s off in the first sector there. Ticktum currently 18th at the moment, 8 tenths behind Felix Rosenquist at this stage, as he will now approach the next chicane on the track. And Ticktum now then in towards the left-hander. And Ticktum, let's see what the second sector is like. 2 tenths down in the second sector there. A little bit far away to see that at the moment, I do apologise. Ticktum now then in the final chicane. And let's see what Dan is able to do as he will now approach the final chicane on the track. And Ticktum now then about to complete his next flying lap, and Daniel Ticktum comes across the line. This is going to be an improvement for the Brit. It ain't. He stays in 18th place at this stage as Evans is about to start his lap. As we look at Yuri Vips in the in the RSPCA racing car. I've already started getting him confusing. Proves to go up into 20th, so he gets in front of Sacha Fenestraz. And so that's that at the present moment. Mitch Evans starting a lap, but it looks like he's going to get impeded a little bit by the EMR in front. No, it's not an EMR. It is the Lopez Racing Development car of Sacha Fenestraz. And as you can see, Evans 1/10 down in the first sector. GP2, first time for them using the Bridgestone tyres. Bridgestone being the sole tyre supplier now. So GP2 now wearing the Bridgestones, as will GP3 as well. So GP3 will be running the Bridgestone tyres. So now we go up towards the left-hander on the track. And now coming out of the corner now then. And let's see what Evans' second sector is like. 6 tenths down. Fenestraz clearly having a big effect on Evans' lap, and he doesn't look to be on an improvement with the Kiwi on this instance. As we now go through the right-hander now then. Out the corner we go, heading up towards the final chicane. And let's see what Evans is able to do. Around the final chicane. Up towards the final corner we go. And onto the pit straight goes Mitch Evans. And across the line goes the Kiwi. And no improvement for Evans, stays where he is. At the present moment, here's Lando Norris, and I don't think he was on an improvement that time around. I think he looked like he made a little bit of a twitch there going into the chicane there. He's got one of the Academy cars currently behind him, about to start a lap, that being Pierre Gasly. Gasly hoping he doesn't get held up by Norris during his lap. In towards the final corner we go now then. And onto the pit straight goes the Brit. Norris crosses the line. Is this going to be an improvement? It isn't. He stays third with that lap as Gasly now just starts a lap. Palmer just coming out just before Gasly did. Giotto starting a lap in the EMR. Here comes Sean Galayo now then through the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And Galayo crosses the line. And Galayo stays 15th for the moment as Santiago Euricia starts a lap. Here comes George Russell in the Red Bull Academy. Russell goes fastest with that lap by 7 thousandths of a second. Russell now goes to the top of the timing sheets. Russell now fastest. He dethrones his teammate off the top of the timing sheets. Russell now the quickest man at the moment. Masushita goes up to 15th, getting in front of teammate Sean Galayo. As we now look at Sergei Sirotkin, who's currently 18th. Is this going to be an improvement for the Russian? Sirotkin crosses the line, and it is. Sirotkin goes up to 9th with that lap. Here comes Sacha Fenestraz in the Lopez Racing Development car, and Fenestraz stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 21, and so. Sorry about that. Gasly crosses the line, and Gasly stays in 8th place at the moment. Palmer starting a lap, as is Luca Giotto. Giotto staying in 12th place at the moment, as Eurisia about to start a lap in the Macamo car. And let's see what Santiago Eurisia is able to do with just under half an hour of the session remaining. Eurisia now then coming across the line. And Eurisia stays where he is at the moment, which is P13. And so Lin crosses the line to start a lap himself. Eurisia currently outpacing him at the moment in this session. Rosenquist about to start a lap to see if he can try and get back to the top of the timing sheets now then. So Fenestraz now then enters towards the final chicane and goes back into the pits. Ericsson now then through the right-hander he goes, and he will now go up towards the final chicane. And Ericsson now then about to finish off his lap, and Joel Ericsson heading down the pit straight, and across the line comes the Swedish driver, and he goes up to 17th. So up to P17 goes Joel Ericsson, getting in front of Sean Galayo at this stage. So that's that then, as here comes Pierre Gasly, who enters in towards the final corner, and Gasly crosses the line, and he does not improve. What about the guy behind him, Jolyon Palmer? He didn't improve and stays P6 for the moment with that lap. Alex Lynn in the Macamo car, just going through the right-hander. Lynn currently 14th at this stage, 7 tenths behind George Russell. As now in towards the final chicane we go. Through the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Alex Lynn, as he will now cross the line. And Lynn does not improve. Lynn stays 14th at the present moment. Here comes Felix Rosenquist. Out of the final corner he goes. And Rosenquist crosses the line. And he stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 2. So not able to beat Russell at this stage by trying to get back to the top. And anybody else on a lap? It doesn't appear like it. So we will look at Nick De Vries, who's currently 7th in the GLM Junior. De Vries now then through the final corner, as he's currently 7th place, 5 tenths off at the moment of Russell, as he now starts his lap. Through the first corner then goes Nick De Vries, and looked like he had to swerve a little bit there. He goes through turn number 3 now then, and De Vries, as we've got a yellow flag, and it's down at the chicane just after the hairpin. And who has got a yellow flag down at that corner? And it is Alex Lynn. Lynn has a throttle problem. The Macamo car pulling off at the chicane. And Lynn throwing it in the wall. He'll have to jump into the T car. Lynn pulls off, and with transmission problems. So the first mechanical problem of today comes from Alex Lynn. And, well, that's that then really. So here is Nick De Vries. As he's 2 tenths down in the first sector there then. De Vries currently in 7th place. Coming out of the hairpin we go, as we now head down the hill now then towards the chicane. The first chicane on the track. Just a tap on the brakes. Out of the corner we go, as he will now glide the car in towards this left-hander now then. Looks like it's his teammate behind him at the moment. Yes, Lance Stroll, who's currently 4th, currently outpacing De Vries at the moment. Let's see what his first sector is like. Second sector, sorry, 5 tenths down in the second sector for De Vries. He doesn't look like he's on for an improvement. but we'll see what his last sector is like. Anyway, De Vries now then, around the left-hander he goes. Out the corner, heading down towards the final chicane on the track. And De Vries now then, through the right, then the left, and now up towards the final corner he will go. And De Vries will now cross the line. And De Vries, let's see what the time's going to be for him. And he stays where he is in the moment, which is P7. So that's that. Stroll starting a lap there. Nato doesn't improve from his time in the moment. Nato currently in, where is he at the moment? Nato currently P5. As here's Mick Schumacher now then, coming up towards the final chicane. And Schumacher currently in 10th place, just in the cusp of the top 10. And let's see what Schumacher's able to do on this lap then. Mick crosses the line and he stays 17th in the meantime now then. Here comes Lucas Jura now then. He heads down the pit straight and across the line goes Jura. And Jura 15th at this stage. And as now Louis Razia now then will approach the final chicane on the track. And Razia currently 22nd at the moment. 1 second off Russell. Razia clearly struggling in this session. Let's see what his lap's going to be then. Razia crosses the line and he goes up to 20th, so he's able to gain a few places now. So now the whole pack separated by 9 tenths of a second, but still not in a position where he wants to be at the present moment. Here's Lance Stroll now then, heading towards the final chicane. Through the right, then the left, and then into the right. Lance Stroll now then crosses the line. And let's see what the Canadian is able to do. No improvement, stays 4th. For the meantime, Nato stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 5. Ticktum goes up to 13th, so a big improvement for Dan Ticktum. He goes up to 13th place in that car. And RSPCA getting a little bit closer now to the top 10. Here comes Yuri Vips, who's currently 21st. This being Dan Ticktum's teammate for this season. Going out of the right-hander up towards the final chicane then goes Yuri Vips. And let's see what he's able to do then. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Yuri. And let's see what Vips is able to do. And he goes up to, he improves in fact, but stays in 21st. He wasn't last earlier, but still not able to gain a place at this stage. Galio out of the right hander he goes, using as much of the curve as possible, as he will now go up towards the final chicane. And let's see what Galio is able to do. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the Indonesian driver. Galio crosses the line. Is this an improvement? And it is, to go up into P18, getting in front of Ericsson. Evans doesn't improve, stays 11th for the moment. Here comes George Russell. Is this going to be an improvement? No, it's not. Stays on 1 minute 16.894. Only 7 thousandths in front of Felix Rosenqvist. So far, it looks like Red Bull Academy has got a very, very strong lineup with Rosenqvist and Russell. Stroll stays where he is at the moment, which is... Stroll stays where he is at the moment, which is P4. Here comes Lando Norris in the light-based Sony racing car. Norris heads down the pit straight and across the line he will go, and Norris stays at the moment in P number 4, I believe it is. He's at the moment, or P3. I believe it's P3. Yeah, P3 at the moment. So here's Sergei Sorokin in the EMR, heading up towards the right-hander. He's got his Williams helmet on, as you can see. So he's got a helmet now available on GP3 Edit. He will now go up towards the chicane, and let's see what Sorokin is able to do on this lap now then. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Sergei Sorokin, and he will now cross the line, and Sorokin stays where he is at the moment, which is P9, just behind Pierre Gasly. And as Yurish is about to start a lap, let's see. As now we look at Santiago Euricia now then, as he goes down through the chicane. Up towards the right-hander he will go, as we have just over 22 minutes of the session remaining. Using as much of the curve as possible on the outside to get in towards the final chicane. Just over 22 minutes left, and we've got a yellow flag, and it's down at the hairpin. And the 4th yellow flag of the day. Who's the culprit down at the hairpin? Is it Sergei Sorokin maybe? And it is. Sorokin has a transmission problem. Another transmission related issue here in this testing session. Sorokin pulls off on the side of the track, and Sorokin will have to jump into the T car. So not the start that they were looking for. Urishia now then, out of the final corner he will go. As Giotto exits out of the right-hander now then to go up towards the last chicane. As here's Urishia now then, who's getting held up in fact by Jolie and Palmer, who's currently in 6th place as they're still attempting to clear Sirotkin's car out of that hairpin. And Urishia now then, the yellow flags are slowly going away, which they do. And so far then, as Urishia definitely getting held up there by trying to overtake Jolie and Palmer as we run on board with the Uruguay driver. So far then, with just over 21 minutes to go in this pre-season test, here is what the leaderboard looks like then. It's Russell at the top with Rosenquist 2nd, Norris 3rd, Stroll 4th, Nato 5th, Palmer 6th, De Vries 7th, Gasly 8th, Sirotkin 9th, Schumacher 10th, with Evans 11th, Giotto 12th, Ticktum 13th, Urishia 14th, Lynn 15th, Yoa 16th, Masashita 17th, Galayo 18th, Ericsson 19th, Razia 20th, Vips 21st, and Fenestraz in 22nd position. Urishia 9/10 down in the second sector that time around, as he will now go through the chicane. And his lap definitely getting compromised by Jolie and Palmer as well as Grand Prix car. As now going out the hairpin. And by the way, Cameron Addison, Willow's Grand Prix have been in it since season 1. They haven't been promoted. They've been in GP2 since season 1. Besides, who did you initially get Lynn from? Yeah, there was a little bit of confusion from Martini because they thought that Willow's Grand Prix were not in GP2 last season, and they thought they just only got promoted. No, Willow's Grand Prix has been in it since season 1. I think the reason why you say that, it's quite understandable, it's because the livery is actually kind of based off their GP3 team. So they decided to transfer that onto GP2. Giotto, meantime, stays 12th. So that's that for him. As here comes Nobuharu Masushita now then, who enters up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And Masushita now then crosses the line. And he goes up into 16th place. And so up to P16 goes Masushita. Nato starting a lap behind him. Here's Pierre Gasly again in the Academy car. Let's see what Gasly's able to do this time around. Heading down the pit straight. He got a taste of a top class car last season when he drove for Shadow in place of Leclerc, who was having a one-off drive at Etihad. And it didn't end well for Gasly. He ended up rolling over, having a huge crash. Thankfully he was okay after that crash. But yeah, not a way he wanted to get a taste of what the top class was all about. As here comes Jolie and Palmer now then, up towards the final chicane he will go. And let's see what Palmer is able to do then on this lap. Heading down the pit straight, and Palmer is going to cross the line. And let's see what he's able to do. No improvement, stays P6 for the moment as Urishia and Rosenquist don't improve on that lap. De Vries starting a lap behind. Here's Joel Eriksson in the Lopez Racing development car. Heading down the pit straight, Eriksson is going to cross the line, and he stays 19th with that lap there then. Here comes Alex Lynn in the Macamo car, who enters in towards the last chicane. And he now heads down the pit straight. And Lynn crosses the line, and he goes up to 15th, or in fact improves but stays 15th. But still an improvement there for Alex Lynn. Here comes Norman Nato, who crosses the line. And Nato does not improve and stays in, Nato stays in 5th place. Lucas Yora crosses the line, and Yora stays in 17th place. Here comes Mick Schumacher up towards the final corner he will go. Schumacher heading down the pit straight. And across the line goes Mick, and let's see what he's able to do. Schumacher stays where he is in P number 10. So that's that for him. Here comes Louis Razia in towards the final chicane. Down the pit straight then goes Louis Razia as he will now cross the line. And Razia stays in P20 at the moment. No improvement for him at this stage. Here comes Felix Rosenquist. Across the line he will go. Rosenquist staying second, unable to dethrone Russell at this stage. De Vries staying in 7th place at the present moment. And so that's that then really, as here comes Daniel Ticktum. So Ticktum now then, just going out of that corner. Anybody else on a lap? Don't think so at the moment. So we'll go to Daniel Ticktum, or Dan Ticktum as he likes to be known, Dan Ticktum, who's currently 13th in the RSPCA Racing car. As mentioned, it will be the last time they will be known as RSPCA Racing, because from IFMC IndyCar onwards, and even next season in GP2, they'll be known as Red Rose Racing. So last season being known as this name before being Red Rose Racing, and hoping to give the name a send-off if they can. There's Ticktum now then. We'll go up towards the chicane, and let's see what he's able to do then. Down the hill he goes, for the right, then the left, up towards the right-hander goes Ticktum. And now out the corner he goes now then, using as much of the curve as possible. Up towards the final chicane goes Daniel Ticktum. And let's see what he is able to produce then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Ticktum. And he will now cross the line. And to start his next flying lap, his teammate is also behind him as well, also starting a flying lap. Through the right-handed end goes Ticktum, as he will now exit out the corner. Down the straight we go, and let's see what Ticktum is able to do on his lap. 1/10 down in the first sector goes the young Brit. I think he's part of the Red Bull Junior program, I believe. Dan Ticktum is. I could be wrong, but I believe that's Ticktum. I think he's part of that, unless he just recently left. I can't 100% remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that's where he's from. As we are just under 10 minutes away from the 5 o'clock mark, and we have just over 16 minutes remaining in this pre-season test before the start of the new season for IFMC GP2, which kicks off in Bahrain next weekend in Sakhir. Their first qualifying session taking place on the Friday, and now before the IFMC press conference. So look out for that. Is now out of the right-hander goes Dan Ticktum, as he will now approach the final chicane, and let's see what Ticktum is able to do on this lap then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. Ticktum is now going to cross the line, and Ticktum, does he improve? He does not. Ticktum stays in P number, where is he? P number 13 at the moment, as he got held up there by Ericsson. His teammate on the other hand improved, but stayed in 21st place at the moment. Yuri Vips still 21st at the present moment. Here's Mitch Evans, the man who finished third last season in the Drivers' Championship. Again, like in Season 1, just missing out on the Drivers' Championship and looking for redemption. He's 6 tenths down in the second sector, and so far his streak of being on top at the Magny Cours pre-season test may come to an end at this stage. So, because the last 2 times that they've been to Magny Cours, the first pre-season test took place at Monza, and I believe he even topped that as well. And then Season 2, he topped it when he was part of Academy, and then he topped last season's as well for Vortex, but it looks like that could be coming to an end this season. Evans crosses the line and stays in P number 11. Norris does not improve and stays third. Russell stays on the 1 minute 16.894. Fenestras starting a lap. Here comes Sean Galayo in the Holy Trinity racing car. Galayo crosses the line and Galayo stays in 18th place for the moment. Giotto and Eurisha and Palmer and Ericsson all on that. Ticktum and Vips going back into the pits. Here's Sergei Sirotkin, 6 tenths down in the second sector, managing to get into the T car after pulling off with a transmission problem. And also as well, I think Lynn also came out as well into the T car a little bit earlier on in the session. Out the corner then goes Sirotkin, as he will now approach the final chicane on the track. And let's see what Sirotkin is able to do then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Sergei Sirotkin. And he's now going to cross the line. And Sirotkin stays where he is at the moment, which is P9. So that's that. Here is Nobuharu Matsushita, who just goes around the right-hander, using as much of the curve as possible. Up towards the final chicane then goes Matsushita. For the right, then the left, and up towards the final corner he goes. The young Japanese driver now then, a Honda pilot, is now going to cross the line, and he goes up to 14th. So a big improvement for Matsushita, so up to P14 he goes, as here comes George Russell, but in fact there's somebody in front. Lando Norris stays third. Russell, is this an improvement for him? And no, it's not. Stays on a 1 minute 16.894. As Fenestras stays 22nd, unable to improve with that lap. Here comes Luca Giotto out of the final corner. He will go. And Giotto crosses the line, and Giotto stays in 12th place for the moment, as Palmer doesn't improve, nor did Euricia in front, as Ericsson out of the final corner. And Joel Eriksson crosses the line, and Joel stays in 19th place at the moment. As we now look at Pierre Gasly through the right, down the left, and up towards the final corner he will go. Gasly currently 8th as the Frenchman looking at an improvement. Gasly across the line he will go, and no, he doesn't. Stays in 8th place for the moment. So that's that for Gasly. Rosenqvist about to start a lap, as here comes Palmer now, then up towards the chicane through the right, then the left, and then up towards the left-hander he will go. And let's see then what Palmer is able to do in the second sector, riding on board with Jolyon Palmer, and he's 5/10 down in the second sector that time around. Through the right, then the left, and then up towards the right-hander he will go. And then out of the hairpin, using as much of the curve as possible, up towards the final chicane he will go. Right, left, and then in towards the last corner. Down the pit straight he goes, and Palmer going to cross the line, currently 6th, stays 6th with that lap. And so that's that for him at the moment. Lynn about to start a lap, as is De Vries and Nato. Here's Felix Rosenqvist. Let's see what his first sector is like. 300th off his teammate in the first sector. So far not on an improvement. He needs to try and find some pace in the last 2 sectors if he can, as he heads down the hill, going up towards the first chicane on the track. The Red Bull Academy driver now then flicking the car through the right and left-hander. Of course, the Bud Light Line Motorsport test driver as well, being loaned out to this team to compete in GP2. And Russell also being loaned out as well by Martini Motorsport to join this team. As 1/10 down in second sector goes Rosenqvist, so the Season 3 IFMC GP3 champion not looking at an improvement at this stage, as he just flicks the car through the right-hander, using all the curb on the left-hand side. Down the hill towards the final sector comes Felix Rosenqvist, and let's see what he is able to do then. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. Rosenqvist crosses the line, and no, does not improve. Stays in second place for the moment. As now Razia goes through the right-hander. Here is Alex Lynn, who just goes through these corners. And 5/10 down in the second sector goes Alex Lynn, as he now just goes through the chicane. And let's see what his sector is going to be like. Around he goes, heading down the towards the final chicane on the track, through the final complex of corners. Lynn now then round the final corner. Lynn currently 16th. Can he try and get the Macamo car up into the top 10 perhaps? Lynn crosses the line. No, he can't. Lynn stays 16th at the moment behind teammate Euricia. As we have now just under 10 minutes now left in the session. We're now into the single figure minutes, as Nick De Vries stays in 7th place at the moment. As up to 4th place goes Norman Nato, so an improvement for him to get behind teammate Norris. So that's that at the present moment. Up to 4th place goes Norman Nato. Here comes Louis Razia now then, up towards the left-hander he will go. And let's see what Razia is able to accomplish then, using as much of the curb as possible. Through the left-hander he goes, as he's 6/10 down in the second sector that time around, as they go up towards the chicane. Down the hill they go, through the right and left-hander he will go through the right-hander. And let's see what Razzie is able to do in the last sector, as he will now go up towards the final chicane, through the right, then the left, and then into the right again. And now down the pit straight goes Louis Razia, and he stays 20th at this stage, as Evans is about to start a lap. And we look at Mick Schumacher, 8/10 down in the second sector there, and it looks like he's not on an improvement, because so far overall he's 6/10 behind George Russell in this testing session, as Schumacher flicks the car through the right-hander, as he will now approach the final chicane. And let's see what Schumacher is able to do. Round the right, then the left, and up towards the final corner goes Mick Schumacher. Down the pit straight he will go, and across the line goes the teenage German. And let's see, he does not improve, and Schumacher stays in 10th place at the present moment. Lance Stroll does not improve and stays where he is. Lucas Jura stays in 17th place at the present moment. Yuri Vips crosses the line, and Vips stays in 21st position. Galile about to start a lap. Here's Mitch Evans, 7 tenths down in the second sector. Evans not looking at an improvement at this stage, maybe just trying to gather up some miles for Vortex Racing. The team ran by Armar Carr and had a very good first season in GP2 last season, but so far both Evans and Jura languishing outside the top 10 at the moment. Evans in 11th and Jura in 17th place. Evans now then crosses the line, and Evans stays P11, still not within the top 10 at the moment. Here's Lando Norris in the light race Sony racing car. Out of the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, and Norris crosses the line, and he does not improve, stays third and gets the checkered flag next to his name. So Norris finishes off his session, as Russell does not improve, stays on 1 minute 16.894 on that lap, as Sacha Fenestraz gets out of the final chicane to start his next flying lap. And so now here's Galile, as somebody else gets a checkered flag next to his name. Mick Schumacher, who's 10th at the moment, gets the checkered flag next to his name, so his session is coming to a close. I guess a decent session for him nonetheless. Also getting checkered flags are Lance Stroll and Dan Ticktum, so their sessions are coming to a close very soon. Then Galile up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, and Galile now then across the line goes the young Indonesian, and Galile stays in 18th place. Vips now gets the checkered flag next to his name, so his session has now come to a close. And so now we look at Sacha Fenestraz just going out of the chicane in towards the left-hander. Then goes the Frenchman, and behind him is Lance Stroll, who's coming back into the pits, and his session comes to a close. A very good day for Lance Stroll, it must be said. In fact, both GOM Junior drivers in 5th and 7th, so I guess team boss George Roke will be very happy about that one. Fenestraz through the right-hander he will go, as we have just under 6 minutes remaining in this pre-season test, the GP2 pre-season test for IFMC. Round the chicane he will go, up towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight goes the Frenchman, as Sirotkin in front, I think, just started a lap. Was it Sirotkin? No, it was Giotto, it was the other EMR. But across the line went Sacha Fenestraz, he stays 22nd, no improvement for the Frenchman, so it looks like it might be last place for Fenestraz, and not a good start to testing. Maybe it's just down to the track, who knows. We know that France is kind of a different track to the Magny Cours, a different track to some of the tracks that we go to during the season. So that's something that each of the teams have got to take into account. This may not be a true reflection of their pace, as Russell gets the checkered flag next to his name now, as does Mitch Evans and Sean Galile. So those guys getting checkered flags. Here's Galile's teammate, Nobuharu Matsushita. In front of him was Eurishia. Did he just do a lap? No, he didn't. He just started one. Still 14th goes Nobuharu Matsushita. So that's his lap completed. Sirotkin does not improve, stays 9th. His teammate behind him, no it's not, it's Joel Eriksson, who's just started a lap. I'm going to get mixed up with the EMRs and Lopez Racing development cars during the season, aren't I? Already just started now in pre-season testing. Luca Giotto now then, up towards the final chicane goes the young Italian. And let's see what Giotto is able to do. Through the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And also behind, I believe that's Pierre Gasly behind him. Giotto crosses the line, stays where he is. Gasly just starts a lap. And here's Santiago Eurishia now then. Through the right hand he will go. Let's see what his second sector is like. 7 tenths down in the second sector. Eurishia not looking at an improvement, as he's overall 6 tenths behind the man currently at the top, which is George Russell. Under 4 minutes now remaining in this testing session here at Magny Cours, as the Santiago Eurishia now then goes up towards the final chicane, and let's see what he is able to do then. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight now goes Santiago Eurishia, as he now crosses the line, And Euricia stays where he is at the present moment, which is P15, as Nick de Vries starts his lap, as he's currently in P7. Lynn starting a lap, as will Joel Eriksson. Eriksson currently in 19th and stayed 19th with that lap. And Gasly now then we will look at. I don't know if Razzie is holding him up on his final flying lap. As Russell, Norris, Russell, Norris, Stroll, Schumacher, Evans, Giotto, Ticktum, Masashita, Galayo, Vips and Fenestras all have checkered flags next to their names. It does look like that Razzie is holding up Gasly on this lap, and as a result Gasly does not improve and stays P8 with that flying lap, and that will probably be his last one because I don't think he'll have enough time to get back into the pits and get back out. Here's Jolyon Palmer, currently 6th in the Willows Grand Prix car, as he goes up towards the final chicane on the track, and let's see what Jolyon is able to do. Round the right, down the left, and then up towards the final corner he will go. Palmer now then going down the pit straight, and across the line goes Jolyon Palmer, and he does not improve and stays P6. His younger brother Will Palmer has got a testing role at Shadow Mercedes, so both Palmers now involved in IFMC in some way, as Rosenquist stays 2nd with that lap. Here comes Nick de Vries in the GOM Junior. De Vries stays 7th, no improvement for him. As we look at Alex Lynn, and Lynn stays where he is at the moment, P16 at this stage. As here comes Louis Razia through the chicane. He'll go just over 2 minutes remaining now then in this preseason test, and we're getting close to the end of preseason testing for IFMC GP2. As now up towards the final chicane goes Louis Razia, through the right, then the left, and then up towards the final corner will go Louis Razia as he heads down the pit straight. Razia crosses the line, and Razia stays where he is at the present moment, as Lucas Euro now then goes up through the right-hander. Euro currently in 17th place, as he uses as much of the curb on the left-hand side there. And so now up towards the final corner then goes the Austrian Lucas Euro as he heads down the pit straight. Euro crosses the line, and let's see what he's able to do. Euro stays where he is at the moment, which is P17, as here comes Felix Rosenquist, and Rosenquist stays in 2nd place and gets the checkered flag next to his name. In fact, most of the guys now then, bar 3 I believe that is, or 5 I should say, have got checkered flags next to their name. Under a minute now left in the session as Sergei Sorokin prepares to start his final flying lap in the EMR. As now up towards the final chicane then goes Sergei Sorokin as he prepares to start his final flying lap. Out of the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Sergei Sorokin, as he will now go up towards turn 1 on the track. Through he goes then, as he now goes through down the hill, round the right-hander he will go, and using as much of the curb on the outside as possible. 20 seconds to go, heading out of the exit of the first sector, and let's see what his sector time is going to be. He's 2 tenths off Russell in the first sector, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Checkered flag is out, and that is the end of the session. That's the end of the of preseason testing for IFMC GP2. Anyone on a lap needs to complete it, because I think they only just do, well, I think maybe a couple could do 2 laps. Some will just do the 1, as Sirotkin is 7 tenths down, because like I said, we know how GPX patch works now, as Sirotkin through the right-hander he will go, as he uses as much of the curb on the left-hand side as possible. Up towards the final chicane goes the young Russian, and let's see what Sergei Sirotkin is able to do then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. There's the checkered flag man just on the right-hand side. Sirotkin crosses the line, does not improve, and stays in 9th place and gets the checkered flag next to his name. And in fact, he was the final driver out on track then. So there you have it, guys. That is the end of preseason testing for IFMC GP2, and here are the results after an hour of this session then. Russell finished fastest with Rosenquist second, Norris third, Nato fourth, Stroll fifth, Palmer sixth, De Vries seventh, Gasly eighth, Sirotkin ninth, Schumacher 10th, Evans 11th, Giotto 12th, Tickton 13th, Masashita 14th, Ueshiya 15th, Lin 16th, Euro 17th, Galayo 18th, Ericsson 19th, Razia 20th, Vips 21st, and Fenestraz in 22nd position. So we will wait for Sirotkin to go back into the pits. It will then take us back to the main menu, and then we'll remind you of what the leaderboard looked like, and then we will finish this live stream here for this weekend's action of IFMC for both the top class and GP2. The top class obviously taking place in Sao Paulo, and today we're here for pre-season testing for IFMC GP2 at Magny Cours. As now Sirotkin goes up towards the final chicane, as the pit lane homes closer to him. There you go, it just said briefly there, free practice over. Into the pits he goes, and there you have it then, back onto the main menu screen. So there you have it then, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. A reminder then of what the leaderboard looked like then. It was George Russell fastest, with Felix Rosenquist second, Lando Norris third, Norman Nato fourth, Lance Stroll fifth, Jolyon Palmer 6th, Nick De Vries 7th, Pierre Gasly 8th, Sergei Sirotkin 9th, Mick Schumacher 10th, Mitch Evans 11th, Luca Giotto 12th, Dan Tickton 13th, Nobuharu Masashita 14th, Santiago Ueshiya 15th, Alex Lin in 16th, Lucas Euro 17th, Sean Galayo 18th, Joel Eriksson 19th, Louis Razia 20th, Yuri Vips 21st, and Sacha Fenestraz in 22nd position. But guys, there you have it then. That has been the end of pre-season testing here for IFMC GP2 in Magny Cours. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been a very interesting testing session with the two Red Bull Academy cars heading 1 and 2, with the pair of them only separated by 7 thousandths of a second. Very close indeed. And then 2 tenths behind was Norris, the next nearest car to the Red Bull Academies. But there you have it then, guys. That has been it. I hope you enjoyed it for pre-season testing. Obviously, Evans' run has come to an end as Russell has broken that streak. But as mentioned, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. And also, for anybody wondering where the rerun was for the Brazilian Grand Prix yesterday, in case anybody missed it, I had problems with Twitch yesterday. There was a little bit of a glitch, but finally it's been fixed. And it should come out later on tonight at 7 PM BST. So anybody who hasn't watched the Brazilian Grand Prix for IFMC, it will be up on YouTube as a rerun at 7 PM BST, and then an hour after that, I believe, or some point later on during the night, you'll see the rerun of the GP2 preseason test. But there you have it then, guys. That has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, next weekend at the Bahrain Grand Prix in Sakhir, where IFMC GP2 will be having its first race weekend, qualifying for them taking place on Friday, and of course their feature and sprint races taking place on Saturday and Sunday respectively. And but there you have it then, guys. That has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys next weekend at the Bahrain Grand Prix in Sakhir for the top class and IFMC GP2 taking place as well. Until then, take care.